Hey there. All right, today is Friday, November 17th, 2023, and I think this is update number 5. I know I said I was going to do them more often, but I chickened out, and it took me 5 weeks, I think, to work up my courage again, so here we are. All right, now, update, health update, carnivore diet. Special guest. This is Pepe. Where's your Pepe? You're so beautiful. All right. So anyway, my weight has been holding steady at 122, and I am super, super happy about that. I did say in my last update, I recall, that I was going to embark upon the lion diet, and I haven't really gotten to that starting point yet, but that's coming very, very shortly, and I'm currently in that transition period of cutting out some yogurt and berries and a little bit of honey and just go straight for the meat and the fat. So I actually worked up the courage yesterday to go to the butcher at my local shop and ask them if they could have some fat trimmings for me. They said come back this time tomorrow. So I came back that time today and nobody was there. So all right, I'll try again another day. Try again on Monday to get a little bit more fat in my diet so I can dig into and start researching more about the fat fast. You see, I really need to take the candida issue seriously. Now, here's where I messed up, okay? But I had to. It was my choice, my problem, right? So there's a relationship between candida overgrowth and H. pylori, meaning that a candida overgrowth creates the perfect environment for the H. pylori to take root and take over. And that's what happened to me. Now, back in the summer, I was on the diflucan and the nystatin and a bunch of other supplements to help calm down the gastritis and some enzymes to help digest food, and that was going really, really well until I didn't need the enzymes any longer. And I am allowing my body to digest the food that it is able to digest. And right now, that is carnivore. Now, here's what else I've noticed since then. In my last video, I mentioned how my cholesterol numbers went down. Now, that was 2 months of cutting out a lot of eggs. I really brought down my egg consumption considerably. And butter. I hardly ate any butter, and I hardly ate any eggs. Just basically yogurt and a few berries and ribeyes. Yeah, my cholesterol numbers look great. I was like flabbergasted, shocked at that. Interesting. I wonder if I had eggs back in, if I had butter back in, would I have a different result? However, my body doesn't really like digesting the butter all that much, so it's easy to stray away from it and use it in small doses. Now, as for the yogurt and the berries, well, I'm sorry, I'm a total sugar carb addict, and I love it. And that little bit of sweetness is enough to really make me feel the difference of what goes on in my body and in my mind without that extra sugar. It's a subtle feeling, but it's profound. And again, if I didn't have the time and the luxury of time to be able to pay attention to these things, I wouldn't notice them at all. I think that's a pretty profound noticing. So again, it's the same thing I'm always preaching to myself and to everybody else. No matter what else is going on out there, you are the captain of your ship. You are in charge of your body, your responsibility. My body, my responsibility. I live inside of this body. If I don't take care of this body, I don't get to be here. And I just got some news of an acquaintance that I know who passed suddenly. And it just really makes you stop and think, tomorrow's not promised. We only have today. And every day is worth fighting for. More days, right? More days. That's why we're here. That's why we're in this space. That's why we're doing this. We want more days on this planet. And we want more healthy days on this planet. That's just not always easy to get, okay? But we're trying. No, we're doing it. We're getting there. All right. something else that's happening, which I think is just even more amazing, is I've been moving a little bit better. I know I touched upon this before, but this is a good place to mention it again. I do suffer from the severe exercise fatigue. You know, it's okay. I have more energy in my life than I had months ago, and that is amazing. I'm not spending days in bed. I'm not spending days just doing nothing. Although I do have plenty of days where I'm just chilling and watching all the doctors on YouTube and making some comments and reflecting on what my body is doing and how is my food doing, and is this new supplement on this routine, is this brand working for me, do I need to mix up the times? You know, it's just a constant juggling act. And I absolutely have to have the supplements because something is going on in my body with the candida, with the H. pylori. I'm just not absorbing all of the nutrients that I need through my food. So I've been in a hurt locker for the past couple of weeks. I finally got the surgery. That happened on October 20th. I got that nasty screw extracted from my ankle. And then I went back after 2 weeks and got the stitches taken out. Well, of course, there's a story behind that too, because nothing ever goes smoothly, right? All right, so it went like this. For the last 4 or 5 years, my neighbor and I have been calling the city line to try to get something done in our back alleyway with the trees that line one side, where branches were falling down, and it was just a hot mess. Well, they were supposed to come on Monday. They didn't come on Monday. They didn't come until Thursday. Thursday was my appointment to get my stitches out, and there were like 3 city cherry picker trucks and dudes with chainsaws, and I wasn't going anywhere, so I thought, okay, that's fine. I'll just reschedule. Rescheduled for the following Monday. Got in no problem. But the nurse was about 1:30 in the afternoon, so no one was fresh and happy. Okay, not at that time of day on a Thursday or on a Monday, right? Everybody's just in a bad mood. So the nurse was in a bad mood. She asked me, how's your discomfort level? I'm like, a 1, because the only discomfort that I was having at that point was the stitches. So she swabs it up with some alcohol, starts taking these stitches out, and I started shaking. My right leg is shaking, my left leg is shaking. It hurt. It hurt. They didn't numb it, nothing. They're just yanking the staples out like it's no big deal. And I said, you need to stop because I don't want to accidentally kick you in the face. Well, she was not happy when I said that, but I was being honest, right? Like, my leg was shaking like this. I was expecting some numbing cream or something, not just, we'll just rip the stitches out. Now, when I had staples out years ago, when I originally had the surgery, where they put the plate and the 7 screws in, yeah, that was no big deal. I was on a cocktail of like 2 Percocet and 2 Oxycontin. I didn't feel much. Besides, popping out a staple is like that. Pulling out a stitch is like, are we done yet? For every single stitch. Now, it felt that long. And maybe it was, because, that rips through some flesh and stuff. So anyway. So the nurse says something to the doctor. She says, you need to go in and check on that patient because she's not being cooperative. So the doctor comes in with another assistant. She's holding down my leg. He's doing the stitches. I'm laying back on the table. The first one hurt so much I sat up. I'm gripping the edge of the table and I'm like, and I'm cussing. And I'm loud, like a freaking 6-year-old having a temper tantrum. And the doctor says to me, oh, you've been through this before. You can handle this. I've had stitches out many times. This is no big deal. And I screamed at him. I said, well, that just makes you a better person than me, Doc. I'm like, I'm sorry, it hurts. Every time you pull a stitch out, it feels like a hot needle going through. How's that my fault? Yeah, whatever. And then the office manager caught up with me when I was bouncing down the hall. She's like, what happened? Is everything okay? I'm like, oh yeah, that was just me getting my stitches out. I didn't handle it well. I'm like, I'm good. We're good. And I left. I was like, did I handle that well or not? See, when I step into that space where I'm like, I'm just going to be my own quirky self no matter what, it just pisses people off. but I was in a happy mood. I was getting my stitches out. I'm sorry, it legit hurt, and I cussed, and they were ugly words, and I was loud, and everybody heard me, and I didn't care, but they didn't give me any numbing cream, and I didn't know that stitches were going to hurt that much. So, whatever. Can't make everybody happy. Anyway, since that happened, yeah, now I'm just working on getting getting over the trauma of it. I mean, it's healed, I'm good to go, I can do whatever I want, and yet there's still some little movements of the foot where like, yeah, that's not quite healed yet. Yeah, that's not quite healed yet. So there is a difference between the medical release of being healed and good to go and actually what the body interprets of being healed and good to go. And those are two totally separate timelines. So I know that sometime between the next 6 months and a year, my foot's not going to feel like anything was ever wrong with it, because I'm actively working to listen to those muscles and strengthen those muscles and do some exercises with that. Now, because I have that exercise fatigue, and of course I tangented it, and now I'm back to it, because that's the way my stories loop. Sorry, or work on that. We won't get real far. I'm dancing a little bit more. Just moving. Whatever my body wants to do at that time, I do that. And I can sustain about 15 to 20 minutes of semi-aerobic and, weight-bearing activities that are fun and easy and silly to do. And so that's what I've been doing. And I can't drop it like it's hot yet, but I'm halfway there. And that's that. Yeah. Yep. Got a bath? Okay, yeah, every day. But today, I have one of those big old clawfoot tubs, big old soaking tub. And when I was getting out of the tub, I put my arms on the side of the tub and I lifted my entire body and held it there. And I tried to do a push-up and I didn't get real far, but I was able to hold up my body weight with my arms on the side of the tub, just like, wee, like a little kid, like, ooh. I'm supporting all my weight on my arms. That was nice. That was really, really nice. That was a wonderful, wonderful non-scale victory. So I just feel like I'm wiggling out of old age. I know that sounds so strange, but literally freaking wiggling out of old age, because for so many years I feel like I always loved music and I danced as a kid. And it's like when you get really, really heavy and then you get sick and life weighs you down, you forget to do those simple little things that are fun and easy that give you joy. And just putting on music and jamming around the house and taking a dance break and just getting those good feels moving to kind of gently strengthen my body so that I can get to a point where I can do like an hour-long yoga class or something. There's no way. I'm just not there yet. But that is the goal. That is the goal. So drop it like it's hot. Take steps 2 at a time. And, that feels good. That means that I got some good ligaments and some good stretches. Have enough energy to start another at least part-time career or 3/4-time career, because I don't ever want to go back to working 40 hours a week again. Oh, heck no. No. I don't want to sell my time for 40 hours a week anymore. I'll do something else, but and it might take me a few years to figure it out and transition to that, but that is kind of the ultimate goal. So wiggling out of old age. Like, seriously, I just feel like the more I dance and the more I groove and the more I loosen up and get wiggly and squiggly and sinewy and strong and flexible, I feel like the old age, I'm wiggling out of it. I keep using the same word all over again because that's what it feels like. And it feels so good. All right. Stress responses. Bombing out big time on the stress responses in the last month. Hitting the wall. And, working with the naturopath to try to track down what is going on with my mental health. What's going on with my mental health? Now, I know some of it is the vitamins being depleted in my system because I did kind of clear myself out and I really require that extra nutritional support. And I can tell the difference when I don't have enough B vitamins in my system. I just don't handle stress well at all. And I'm more inclined to pop off with a trigger and then I'm up in the stratosphere because I just got triggered from some vocabulary word that someone I care about used, and then this person that I respect and love very much, I'm just see the white on my tongue? That's gross and disgusting. I'm not going to cut that out. I'm going to leave that in because that's part of what that's what I need, you know? It's better than it was. It's like half as much as what it was, but it's still way too much. So maybe it's good that I accidentally opened my mouth too wide and got embarrassed and decided to leave it in, because I know I'm not the only human on the planet that's suffering from this shit. The frickin' Candida, man. Oh, I've barely scratched the surface of the havoc that wreaks. And it's been wreaking its havoc all of these years. And it's a major, major, major regret of mine that I didn't dig more deeply into that back in my 20s. Is it menopause? Is my mental health a big wreck because of menopause? Like, am I stuck in this crazy, stupid, weird, wacky, over-emoting place because menopausal hormones? I don't know. All right. Why don't you go get yourself some psych meds? Yeah, I tried that back in my 20s. That didn't go well either. Ooh, those SSRIs. I could smell them coming out of my skin. And not only that, they were messing up my digestion way back then. And so I don't know what the sleeping pill was. They gave me a sleeping pill and they gave me an SSRI. And for an entire year, I took those. And after 2 weeks, I'd get constipated. Same thing that's happening now, right? I'd get constipated. That would lead to diarrhea. That would lead to vomiting. And then that would lead to laying off the meds for a week and then back on them. I cycled through that stupid shit for a year. And then I mentioned something to my psychiatrist, and he took me off the sleeping pill because he's like, oh, that's the one that's causing you constipation. I was like, well, then fuck the other med too. I'm not taking it. And I figured it would be no big deal because it never really had a chance to build up in my system, and I hated the way it smelled coming out of my pores. And ever since then, I now know when someone's on an SSRI because I can smell it coming out of their pores. It's a gross, disgusting smell. I'd rather be an emotional wreck my whole life crying every day than take that. All right. Which brings us to the woo-woo report. So, I love my therapist. Hypnotherapy can blast through a lot of things in one session. And then over the ensuing weeks, the issues present themselves through life in ways that allow for reflection and unpacking. And then when that process completes, then I go back. And so that might be going once a week or once every 2 weeks or once a month or whenever. So I won't go back until whatever has begun from that previous session completely clears, and that will take whatever time it takes. So I'm not ready to go back yet. And the reason being is it gives me the opportunity to actually put into practice and use the practices and use the tools and use the wisdom, therefore not relying on the therapist weekly, but relying on my own inner guidance and guidance from above and wherever else one gets their guidance from. All of the sources, right? So that's where I'm at. And so I had a couple of interpersonal issues that I needed to deal with, and it really triggered my people pleasing nature. And it it made me realize that I spend a lot of time and effort worrying about what other people think of me. And that the little thing that happened with getting the stitches out at the doctor, that was a perfect example of me exercising my right to not worry about what other people think of me, even if I come across as being a crazy, insane goofball, which I am. But I'm also competent, and I'm also accomplished. Okay, maybe not major accomplishments that are going to set the world on fire, but I didn't make a complete train wreck of my life. Only, I've had little derailments. Some of it I caused, but not all of it. Anyway, so I'm becoming much, much more aware of how things affect me, both energetically and in my body. And one of the things that's becoming completely apparent in the last 4 to 5 weeks is physiologically, I am not handling even the most minuscule of stressors. And I was discussing that with a friend of mine, and we were wondering if that's a menopause thing, or is that a candida thing? Is it a mold thing? I just sent the piss test out a few days ago to see if I have aflatoxins, which another friend of mine says I definitely have aflatoxins because she uses a voice recording thing, and I always test positive for aflatoxins. What's the next step after that? I don't know. Now, something else happened, and this was, it was blown wide open, quantum field stuff, 3D and 5D bumping onto each other, and yeah, bopped into a story on that, and that was a disaster. But anyway, so my mom came over because she's so sweet and cute. She's 80 and she's in great health, and she's so cute. So she wanted to come over and help me after my surgery, and I really didn't need her, but it was just so cool for my mom to come over to my house and hang out with me for a change, and we just had a great time. And she really didn't have to do anything because I really didn't need anybody to help care for me because I was completely 100% ambulatory, and that was amazing. And we just had a really nice time for a number of days over a couple of weeks. And then, like, there was this area in the kitchen where she would, make the coffee and prepare food. And it's the same area where I would prepare my food. And so when she was gone and I was in that space in the kitchen, and I realized that I walked straight into an emotion that was left in that spot in the kitchen. And I was like, the fuck is this? And who left it? Is this me? Did I leave this emotion here? Or did my mom leave this emotion here? What the frick is it? So, weird, but the best I can come up with as a description is homesickness. I'm like, okay, I'm home. Why am I homesick? I'm home. Why am I homesick? I never get homesick. Like, homesick is crazy. Like, home will be there, hopefully. Like, why homesick? Is my mom homesick? Maybe we both left that emotion there. Maybe my mom is homesick for having a home again. Because she lives in a great community, an independent living facility. She has a boyfriend, and she has other friends, and she has a ton of activities to do, and things that she even runs a Bible study. It's amazing. She's living a really good phase of her life right now. I'm the one living like the geriatric, locked inside of my little cottage in the back house, not going anywhere and not talking to anybody because, when you're 58 years old and you're a grandma and you're at the end of your career and you're trying to figure out what to do next and friendships are too hard to sustain, you're just like, okay, now what am I going to do? Now what am I going to do? I need a new career. I need a life. I need to get out of this house. I need to get healed first, but I don't know if I can heal in this house. But because the house testing and also the other stool testing for parasites, like that's just gonna be like another $700 to $800 gone like the wind. So next month, homesick. What am I homesick for? Maybe I'm homesick for a real house, because this is a cute little funky artist cottage. It's great for a single person. It's a dwelling. It doesn't feel like a home. Now, my big house behind me, my daughter and her husband slash partner and children and pets, they're there. But it's an old house. It has old house problems. And there's something in this house, and you know, it could be in the carpets, it could be from the basement that's under my bedroom. A lot of rehab needs to be done. The most efficient way of doing it would be to completely empty everything, 100% minimalize, get a storage unit. Like, I live in the city, there's no place to put a pod, right? Maybe, but no, there's too much junk around here. Get everything out. Just do it in one fell swoop. Yeah, that's where I'm stuck. It's the energy, the physical energy. Oh yeah, cats. Like, I would be perfectly happy to live with 0 cats. However, that one's my one daughter's. And we tried rehoming her with my daughter, but she has acquired a couple of other cats, and they really didn't get along, and they traumatized Trax, so Trax is back with me. And Pepe, he belongs to the front house, but he needs to eat like 6 times a day, because he was born to be a fat kitty. And I probably should not cohabitate with kitties. But here we are. Homesick. Alright, finding those lost pieces. That homesickness, that's a big lost piece. I don't want to live like this anymore. And yet at the same time, I don't want to go anywhere else because I see my grandkids all the time. And I might be rolling out of town next week and not coming back for a couple of months. I don't know. Or I'm going to stay here and hunker down, cry, and try to figure out, all right, how many air cleaners do I need to buy? Who's going to rip out the carpet? Oh my God. So I'm either going to, okay, fight, flight, or freeze, right? I've been in freeze. I've just been in freeze this whole month. It is what it is. And I should stay here and fight, you know? Fight through the house and all that. But I can't live in a house and rehab it at the same time, because that will push my health into the wrong direction. So it's probably going to have to be air cleaners and one room at a time as budget allows. But boy, would it be nice to get out of here for a couple of months just to see what my body and my mind does with themselves if I'm not in the same environment that I was in that made me sick. Well, yeah, who said that? Somebody. You can't get well in the same environment that made you sick? Okay. I just have to figure out a new environment. Programs and connections. Just like the connection with the homesickness was that was a big deal. And like I said, maybe it was me and my mom that left the energy there. I don't know. But, you know, I was kind of blown wide open, and that was really cool. All right. Now, when I'm blown wide open, and when I open myself up, and I get negative feedback, then my clamp down is as equal to my openness. And so I'm constantly fluctuating back and forth between being open to new possibilities No, I'm not. No, 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 no. We're just going to sit here, keep doing what we're doing, which is a whole lot of nothing. Because putting yourself out there is scary. But you know what? Turn over a new leaf. Trying to break the habit of being myself. Because the self isn't working. Working on a new self. Letting this new self emerge, but the new self can't emerge until the shit from the old self is dealt with. And that's the meaning of life today. Tomorrow it might have another meaning. Fraught with that age-old desire to please. That's 99% of all of my problems. I want to please you. And I can't. But why does pleasing me feel so wrong? So what's affecting my mental health? Am I just screwed up in the head and I always will be? Am I spiritually defunct? Is it the candida? Is it the mold allergy? Is it pyrroles? Gotta do that testing tonight and send that up. Freeze that shit and send it off on Monday. It's not shit, it's piss. But, okay, I'm sorry, I'm using vulgar language. It's a urine sample that must be frozen and shipped on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday only. Once frozen, the sample is good for 21 days. A pyrrole is some molecule that some bodies produce in an overabundance, which leads to a long litany of stuff that can go wrong. And when I read that Healthline article, I'm like, oh, there's like one thing on here that I don't tick. Yeah. So, fuck, I might be bipolar. I do not want that label. Gotta fit the symptomology. And that might be because of pyrroles. And the pyrrole shit runs in families. So if I test positive having a pyrrole disorder, I'm going to figure out how to get my mother and my daughters tested. Because, you know, those little triggers, I just pop off. And I know better. And I don't want to do it. And I feel bad when I do it. But certain things, and I'm just like, and then I have to apologize for getting triggered. Oh, my doctor gave me a trial run of oxytocin, the love hormone. I tried one dose of it. That's not gonna work. Oh, it made my heart feel some kind of way. Yeah. And then, okay, so I try the pill first, and then I look it up. So what happened to my logic? Sometimes it works perfectly, and sometimes my logic is like, That's about it. That's all I got. I talked